My mother-in-law wanted my son to call her mom, first before me. After years of my husband dismissing my feelings, I finally stood my ground. I never imagined that a simple word would cause such turmoil in my family. Yesterday, my mother-in-law, Lisa, 62F, announced to everyone at our family dinner that she had decided on her grandmother name. With a bright smile on her face, she declared that she wanted my son, Nathan, 20 months, to call her mom. Not grandma, not Nana, not even a cute variation like Mimi or Gigi, just mom. The exact same title I use. The table went quiet for a moment. I, 33F, looked at my husband, Rob, 35M, expecting him to say something, but he just nodded and continued eating his dinner. My fork froze halfway to my mouth as I processed what I'd just heard. When I found my voice again, I asked Lisa if she meant a variation like Mom Lisa or something similar. She shook her head and explained that she had spent months thinking about this and wanted to be called Mom, plain and simple. I've been married to Rob for 12 years, and we've always had a good relationship with his parents. They live about 40 minutes away and visit us at least twice a month. Lisa has always been kind to me, and until now, I never had any major issues with her. Nathan is our first child and the first grandchild in both our families, so naturally, everyone is excited about him. When we got home that night, I told Rob how uncomfortable I felt about his mother's choice. I explained that Mom is my title, the one I've earned by carrying our son for 9 months, going through labor, and being his primary caretaker every day. I didn't want to share that special name with anyone else, especially not my mother-in-law. Rob's response caught me off guard. He told me I was being unreasonable and that I needed to get over it. According to him, it wasn't a big deal, and I was making a mountain out of a molehill. When I tried to explain my feelings again, he cut me off and said he didn't want to argue about something so trivial. This morning, I brought up the topic again, hoping that after a night's sleep, Rob might understand my perspective better. Instead, he became irritated and reminded me that his grandmother was called Mom by him and his siblings, so it wasn't unusual in his family. I pointed out that we're not from a culture where grandparents commonly use parental titles, and just because it was normal in his family doesn't mean I have to be comfortable with it. What makes this situation even more complicated is that Nathan has a significant speech delay. At 20 months old, he still doesn't say any words at all. We started speech therapy for him last month, and his therapist has been working with us on consistent language input. Just last week, the therapist specifically mentioned that it's important to have clear distinctions between different family members to avoid confusion in Nathan's language development. I mentioned this to Rob, explaining that having both me and his mother called Mom could potentially confuse Nathan and set back his speech development. Even with this professional input, Rob maintained that I was overreacting. He said that if I wanted to cause problems with his mother over this, I was on my own. I've been waiting for Nathan to say Mom for so long. Every day I work with him on his speech exercises, showing him pictures of me and saying Mom clearly and slowly. I've imagined that moment countless times, when all the hard work pays off and he finally calls me Mom. The thought of that moment being shared with my mother-in-law makes my chest tighten. The speech delay has been hard on all of us. We go to therapy sessions every week, practice exercises at home daily, and constantly worry about Nathan's development. It's been an uphill battle, and Rob and I have spent many nights researching speech development and techniques to help our son. The speech therapist has become an essential part of our lives, guiding us through this challenging journey. But the most upsetting part of this situation isn't even about my mother-in-law's choice of name anymore. It's about Rob's complete dismissal of my feelings. We've been together for 16 years, dating for 4 years before marriage. And throughout our relationship, there have been times when he's dismissed my concerns or told me I was being too sensitive. But this time feels different. This time, it's about our son and my role as his mother. I want to talk to Lisa directly about this issue the next time she visits. She's coming over this weekend, and I plan to pull her aside for a private conversation. But the thought of confronting her terrifies me. What if she gets offended? What if it damages our relationship permanently? And most importantly, what if Rob doesn't back me up and I'm left standing alone, branded as the difficult daughter-in-law who makes a fuss over nothing? Rob and I rarely argue, mainly because I tend to give in to avoid conflict. It's something I've been working on, standing up for myself more and expressing my needs clearly. But it's hard to break old patterns, especially when the other person doesn't recognize there's a problem. This morning, I received a text from Lisa asking if she could buy a t-shirt for Nathan that says I love Mom for both Mother's Day and Grandparents' Day. The message made my stomach drop. It's as if she's trying to cement her position as another mom to my son, and Rob sees nothing wrong with it. Last night, I overheard Lisa on the phone with her friend while she was visiting. She explicitly said she wanted Nathan to say her name first, and that's why she chose Mom, because it's usually one of the first words babies learn to say. Hearing this made me realize this isn't just about a grandmother name, it's about Lisa wanting to claim a milestone that should be mine. I've also noticed that Lisa has started purchasing items that are clearly meant for mothers, not grandmothers. She recently bought herself a necklace that says Mom and showed it off proudly at a family gathering. When my own mother, who goes by Grandma, asked about it, Lisa explained that it was to celebrate her relationship with Nathan. The strangest part is that aside from this issue, Lisa has always respected boundaries and never been the overbearing type. She doesn't show up unannounced, doesn't give unsolicited parenting advice, and generally has been a supportive presence in our lives. That's why this behavior feels so out of character and confusing. Rob and I don't see eye to eye on many parenting decisions, but we usually find a way to compromise. When we disagreed about sleep training, we researched different methods and found a middle ground. When we couldn't agree on childcare arrangements, we visited multiple centers together and eventually found one we both liked. But this issue with his mother seems to be non-negotiable for him. I've tried to understand Rob's perspective. Maybe he doesn't see the significance of a title. Maybe he's trying to keep the peace with his mother. Or maybe, as the oldest son who has always been close to his mom, he genuinely sees nothing wrong with sharing the mom title. But none of these explanations make it any easier for me to accept the situation. I spent the afternoon looking through Nathan's baby book, where I've documented all his firsts. First smile, first tooth, first steps. The page for first words remains blank, waiting to be filled. Will I have to write mom and clarify that he was talking to his grandmother, not me? Am I being unreasonable here? Is this really something I should just let go? I keep second-guessing myself because Rob seems so certain that I'm in the wrong. But when I imagine my son calling both me and his grandmother by the same name, it just doesn't sit right with me. I need some outside perspective because I'm starting to wonder if I'm the one who's being difficult. Should I just accept that my mother-in-law will be mom to my son? Or is it reasonable to ask her to choose a different grandmother name? Update 1. It's been 2 weeks since I posted about my mother-in-law wanting to be called mom by my son. First, I want to thank everyone who responded to my original post. Reading your comments made me realize I wasn't being unreasonable, and many of you encouraged me to stand my ground on this issue. The day after I posted, I decided to try speaking with Rob one more time. I showed him some articles about the importance of clear family titles for children with speech delays, hoping the additional information might help him understand my concerns better. His initial reaction was defensive, but after I explained how important this was to me, he reluctantly agreed to talk to his mother. Rob called Lisa the next day. I sat next to him during the call, hoping to hear the conversation, but he put the phone on speaker only for the first minute before taking it off and walking to another room. When he returned, he told me he had explained the situation to his mother, using the speech therapist's recommendations as the main reason. According to Rob, he told Lisa that the therapist emphasized I needed to be the only mom in Nathan's therapy sessions for consistency. I was relieved that Rob had finally addressed the issue with his mother, but that relief was short-lived. 2 days later, Lisa came to visit and announced her solution. She would be called Mom Lisa instead of just Mom. She looked at me expectantly, clearly waiting for my approval of this compromise. I didn't know how to respond in the moment. Mom Lisa still contains the word mom, which was my entire concern in the first place. It wasn't a compromise at all. It was just adding her name to the title I wanted to keep for myself. But with both Lisa and Rob looking at me, waiting for my grateful acceptance of this solution, I just nodded and changed the subject. Later that night, I overheard Lisa talking to Nathan while she was giving him a bath. I was folding laundry in the adjacent room. She was saying, "Can you say Mom Lisa? Say Mom. I bet you'll say my name first." I didn't want to give up, Mom, because I know you'll say that before any other name. Hearing this confirmed what I had suspected all along. She specifically wanted him to say Mom to her first, before he said it to me. When I brought this up to Rob after Lisa left, he accused me of eavesdropping and making too much of an innocent comment. He said his mother had agreed to the compromise of Mom Lisa, and I should be satisfied with that. When I pointed out that it wasn't really a compromise since it still included Mom, he told me I was being petty and difficult. Nathan is now 21 months old and still not speaking. We've increased his speech therapy to twice a week, and the therapist has given us more exercises to practice at home. During a recent session, the therapist asked what names we use for family members, and I hesitantly explained the Mom versus Mom Lisa situation. The therapist frowned and reiterated that clear, distinct names would be best for Nathan's language development, especially given his delays. I've started to give up on trying to convince Rob to support me on this issue. It's become clear that he won't stand up to his mother or validate my feelings about this. Instead, I'm focusing on preparing for a direct conversation with Lisa myself, which I plan to have during her next visit. The situation has made me more aware of other ways Rob dismisses my feelings or tells me I'm overreacting. Last week, I was upset because he forgot our anniversary, and his response was to tell me that anniversaries are just arbitrary dates, and I shouldn't be so sensitive. When I expressed concern about Nathan's upcoming pediatrician appointment, Rob told me I worry too much and everything will be fine. These might seem like small incidents, but they're part of a pattern I'm starting to recognize. This pattern became even clearer to me when I remembered the year we lived with Rob's parents after college. During that time, I often witnessed exchanges between Lisa and Rob's sister, Emma. When Emma would express that something had hurt her feelings, Lisa would dismiss her concerns, telling her she was being too sensitive or making a big deal out of nothing. The phrases Lisa used were almost identical to the ones Rob uses with me when I express my feelings. It was a huge realization. Rob learned this behavior from watching his mother. I also recalled that Rob's brother Jake had a major falling out with Lisa a few years ago. They didn't speak for months, though they eventually reconciled. At the time, Rob stayed completely neutral, never taking sides or even discussing the conflict. In the 16 years I've known him, I've never seen Rob disagree with his mother or stand up to her about anything. Yesterday, Lisa sent me a text with a photo of a onesie she bought for Nathan. It said, "Mom Lisa's little man," with hearts around the text. She asked if he could wear it when they visit next weekend. I haven't responded yet. Part of me wants to use this as an opportunity to start the conversation via text, but another part of me knows this discussion should happen face-to-face. Rob continues to tell me that if I bring this up with his mother, I'll be creating unnecessary drama. He insists that Mom Lisa is a perfectly reasonable compromise and that I should let it go. But I'm tired of always being the one who has to compromise, who has to swallow her feelings to keep the peace. I'm nervous about confronting Lisa directly, but I know it's necessary. I just wish Rob had my back on this. I wish he could understand why this matters to me. I wish he could see that his mother's behavior is inappropriate, not my reaction to it. I'll update again after I've spoken with Lisa. I'm hoping for the best but preparing for things to get messy. Update 2. It's been a month since my last update, and a lot has happened. I finally had that conversation with Lisa, but not before things got worse. The weekend after my last post, Lisa and Rob's dad, Tom, came to visit. Lisa brought the Mom Lisa onesie and immediately wanted to change Nathan into it. I took a deep breath and suggested we talk privately first. Rob shot me a warning look, but didn't say anything as Lisa and I went to the kitchen. I had rehearsed what I wanted to say, but once we were alone, my carefully prepared speech vanished. Instead, I blurted out that I wasn't comfortable with the Mom Lisa name because it still used the word mom, which I felt should be reserved just for me. I explained that with Nathan's speech delay, having clear, distinct names was important, according to his therapist. Lisa's face fell, and she said Rob had already told her about the speech therapist's concerns, which is why she'd compromised with Mom Lisa instead of just Mom. She pointed out that Rob didn't think it was a problem, and she'd spent a lot of time choosing her grandmother name. She asked why I couldn't just be flexible on this small issue that meant so much to her. Before I could respond, Rob walked in. He must have been listening from the hallway. He immediately sided with his mother, saying I was being stubborn and making everyone uncomfortable. The conversation quickly turned into 2 against 1, with both of them telling me I was overreacting. I ended up leaving the room, retreating to our bedroom where I stayed until Lisa and Tom left early, cutting their visit short. That night led to one of the biggest arguments Rob and I have ever had. He accused me of deliberately creating conflict with his mother and embarrassing him in front of his parents. I pointed out that I had tried multiple times to discuss this with him privately first, but he had dismissed my concerns each time. The argument ended with Rob sleeping on the couch and not speaking to me for 2 days. On the 3rd day, as if nothing had happened, Rob came home from work and announced that he had called his mother again and they had reached a new solution. Lisa would now be Nana to Nathan. Just like that, after months of conflict, she had agreed to drop the mom title completely. I was suspicious about the sudden change of heart, so I asked Rob what exactly he had said to her. He admitted that he had told her the speech therapist was now insisting on completely different names for family members due to Nathan's worsening speech delay. He had essentially used the therapist as the reason, not my feelings or concerns. While I was relieved that the mom issue seemed to be resolved, I was also frustrated that it took an exaggerated claim about the speech therapist's advice to make it happen. My feelings had never been reason enough. A week later, I received a call from Lisa. She asked if we could talk, just the 2 of us. We met for coffee while Rob watched Nathan. During our conversation, Lisa asked me directly if the name issue was really about the speech therapy or if it was about my feelings. The question caught me off guard, but it was the opening I needed. I told her honestly that while the speech therapist did recommend distinct names, the main issue was that I felt Mom was my special title as Nathan's mother, and I wasn't comfortable sharing it. I explained how hard we've been working with Nathan on his speech and how much I've been looking forward to the day he calls me Mom for the first time. To my surprise, Lisa listened attentively. When I finished speaking, she reached across the table and patted my hand. She admitted that she hadn't considered how important that first mom moment would be for me. She explained that she had chosen Mom because her own mother had been mom to her children, and it had seemed natural to continue the tradition. But she understood now why it mattered to me, and she was fine with being Nana. The conversation then shifted to other topics, and for the first time in months, I felt like Lisa and I were connecting without tension. When I got home and told Rob about our talk, he seemed surprised but pleased that things had worked out. He asked why I hadn't just explained my feelings to his mother this way from the beginning. That question stuck with me. Why hadn't I? The answer was uncomfortable. Because I had been afraid of confrontation, and because my husband had repeatedly told me my feelings weren't valid or important enough to bring up. Nathan is now 22 months old, and while he still isn't speaking much, he's making progress. He can now make the M sound during speech exercises, which the therapist says is a positive sign. Lisa has fully embraced being Nana, and even bought some Nana-themed items to replace her mom ones. The name issue is resolved, but the larger problem remains. Rob still tends to dismiss my feelings and side with his mother in disagreements. Just last week, we disagreed about whether to attend a family function when Nathan had a slight cold. wanted to stay home, but Rob insisted we go because his mother was expecting us. When I expressed concern about Nathan's health, Rob told me I was being overly cautious as usual. I've spent 16 years in this relationship, most of them overlooking these dismissals and doubting my own feelings when Rob tells me I'm overreacting. It took this conflict with Lisa to make me see the pattern clearly. I've suggested to Rob that we could benefit from talking to someone about our communication issues, but he doesn't think we need outside help. According to him, every couple has disagreements, and ours aren't serious enough to warrant counseling. For now, I'm focusing on Nathan's development and on standing up for myself more consistently in small, everyday situations. It's not easy changing patterns established over 16 years, but the mom conflict has shown me that I can advocate for myself when something truly matters to me. I'll update again if there are any significant developments in either Nathan's speech progress or my ongoing efforts to improve communication with Rob. Update 3. It's been half a year since my last update, and I want to share how things have progressed. Nathan turned 2 years and 4 months old last week, and we've had a breakthrough. He said his first real word. And yes, it was mama, clear as day, while looking right at me. The moment was everything I had hoped for and more. I recorded a video of him repeating it and sent it to family members, including Lisa, who responded with genuine enthusiasm. Lisa has fully embraced her role as Nana, and has even started a collection of Nana-themed items. She bought a Nana's Boy t-shirt for Nathan's birthday, and wears a Proud Nana bracelet almost every day. Our relationship has improved significantly since our heart-to-heart talk, and she's been respectful of my boundaries with Nathan. The speech therapy has been making a difference. Nathan now has about 10 words in his vocabulary, including Nana for Lisa. The therapist is pleased with his progress and believes he'll continue to catch up over time. We're still doing exercises at home daily, and Nathan seems to enjoy them more now that he can see the results. As for Rob and me, we've had numerous conversations about communication and respect. Some went well, others not so much. After one particularly difficult argument where Rob told me once again that I was being too sensitive, I decided I needed to make a change. I reached out to a counselor on my own, even though Rob wasn't interested in joining me. The counseling sessions have been eye-opening. The counselor pointed out that the pattern in our relationship, where my feelings are consistently dismissed, is unhealthy and eroding my self-confidence. She's been helping me develop strategies to assert myself and recognize when my concerns are valid, regardless of what Rob says. 3 months ago, I started setting firmer boundaries with Rob. When he dismisses my feelings, I calmly point it out and hold my ground. This has led to some tense moments, but also to a few breakthroughs where Rob actually listened and acknowledged my perspective. Last month, we had a situation where Lisa wanted to take Nathan for an overnight visit. I wasn't comfortable with it yet, as Nathan still wakes up multiple times at night and gets anxious in unfamiliar settings. When I expressed this to Rob, he initially dismissed my concerns as overprotectiveness. Instead of backing down as I would have in the past, I stood firm and explained my reasoning clearly. To my surprise, Rob eventually agreed that waiting a few more months for overnight visits made sense. He even backed me up when explaining the decision to Lisa, marking one of the first times he's taken my side in a disagreement involving his mother. This small victory gave me hope that change is possible, though the progress is slow. There are still many instances where Rob falls back into old patterns of dismissing my feelings or siding with his mother automatically. The counselor has suggested that Rob might benefit from individual therapy to address these learned behaviors, but he remains resistant to the idea. I've given myself a timeline, 1 year of consistently working on asserting myself and improving our communication. If after that year, Rob is still unwilling to acknowledge or change his dismissive behavior, I'll need to reevaluate whether this relationship is healthy for me and for Nathan. The mom conflict with Lisa turned out to be a catalyst for recognizing deeper issues in my marriage. While I'm grateful that specific problem was resolved, it opened my eyes to patterns I had been ignoring for years. I'm no longer willing to have my feelings dismissed as unimportant or to accept being told I'm overreacting when I express a concern. For now, I'm taking it one day at a time, celebrating Nathan's progress, maintaining the improved relationship with Lisa, and working on standing up for myself with Rob. The journey isn't easy, but for the first time in our 16-year relationship, I'm putting my needs and feelings on equal footing with everyone else's. I don't know what the future holds for Rob and me, but I do know that I've found a strength in myself that I didn't realize I had. Whatever happens, I'll be okay. And most importantly, Nathan will be okay too.